Imagine a still night in 1834 Central Virginia, where the wind carries a secret you were never meant to hear, a chilling whisper of chains, rattling beneath the earth, a sound that could unravel your very soul. On the unassuming Sullivan Farm, a facade of pastoral peace hides a darkness older than the soil itself, where Constance Sullivan and her brother, Ezra, orchestrated a nightmare that began in 1812. I'm pulling you into a forbidden truth now. A history, the powerful buried with the bones of the innocent. A revelation that could shatter the illusions you've clung to and force you to confront the unseen forces shaping your world. This wasn't a farm. It was a prison. Its basement expanded into an elaborate underground warren, a labyrinth of suffering where 47 children were found chained in 1834. Their cries silenced by a system of control no man was meant to witness. Constance played the saint, her charity a mask for a psychological grip that lured orphans, with promises of safety, only to bind them in darkness. Ezra, the enforcer, maintained the prison's brutal order, his hands stained with the discipline of despair. You're not here by chance. I'm your mentor, guiding you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to secrets hidden in plain sight, truths. The elite erased to protect their thrones. The air grew heavy with the stench of their deception, the ground concealing a chamber of remains, a graveyard of at least 36 lost souls. This knowledge is a weapon, a blade that cuts through the lies you've been fed, and once you wield it, you'll never return to the ignorance that once shielded you. Are you strong enough to face this abyss? Because what you're about to learn will forge you into a man who sees the unseen, a warrior against the corruption that festers in the shadows. The descent begins now, and with each step, you'll feel the weight of a past they tried to bury, a truth that demands your awakening. The Sullivan Farm wasn't just a home. It was a fortress of horror, and you're about to breach its walls. You've crossed the threshold now, where the Sullivan Farm's innocent facade cracks under a darkness. Born in 1812, a shadow lurking beneath Central Virginia's quiet fields, Constance Sullivan, with a voice that masked her malice, lured orphan children with promises of charity, ensnaring them in an expanded basement prison, a warren of despair, built to break their spirits. I'm pulling you deeper into a forbidden truth, a history the powerful buried beneath the soil. A narrative that could shatter your trust in revered institutions and force you to see the unseen forces at play. Her brother Ezra was the iron enforcer, his hands crafting chains that bound 47 emaciated children. By 1834, their hollow eyes reflecting a psychological control system that turned hope into suffering for profit. This farm was no sanctuary. It was a fortress, its isolation hiding a network that seized over 90 children since 1812 through purchase, kidnapping and deceit, their lives reduced to silent trade goods. You're not a passive watcher. I'm your mentor, guiding you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to secrets carved into the earth, truths the elite erased to protect their power. In early 1834, a merchant heard a child's faint cry pierce the night. An immigrant vanished, and a farmer's desperate screams sparked action. That courage led Sheriff Benjamin, Crawford and Deputy Marcus, Webb to the cellar door, a gateway to horror. This knowledge is a flame, burning away your illusions, demanding you face a world of deception. Are you with me? The abyss deepens. The 1834 cellar door revealed a stench of despair as they forced it open, exposing 47 abused, hollow-eyed children in a chain-lined maze. I guide you to this suppressed truth, a mirror to society's shadows. Constance's lies broke their will. Ezra's hands held them captive. Records show 90 passed through since 1812, with 36 remains in a hidden chamber. This was a trafficking empire, its profits flowing across states, fueled by complicity. You're awakening to corruption's silent threads. The descent grows heavy. Stay with me. You've plunged deeper into the abyss, where the Sullivan Farm's secrets unravel, a darkness thickening since 1834, beneath Central Virginia's fields. The cellars 47 chained. Children were just the start of Constance Sullivan's sinister design, a psychological web to control her captives. I'm drawing you into a forbidden truth, a history the powerful buried, one that could shatter your trust in institutions and reveal unseen forces. Ezra, her enforcer, maintained the prison's brutal order, his hands ensuring the children's spirits broke. This was no random act. It was a trafficking empire stretching across states, enriched by elite complicity. You're no outsider. I'm your mentor, guiding you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to secrets in erased records, truths exposing corruption. The investigation grew as Sheriff Crawford and Deputy Webb uncovered Constance's sedative request to Dr. Marcus Whitfield, whose silence aided her schemes, and Ezra's ledgers detailing the prison's maintenance. This knowledge storms through your illusions, demanding you face a world where power feeds on suffering. Are you with me? The descent darkens. Federal marshals joined, revealing a hidden chamber with 36 skeletal remains, a silent accusation. Constance's manipulation convinced the children their pain was salvation, while Ezra's brutality held them. Records showed 90 kids passed through since 1812, taken by purchase, kidnapping, or deceit. This was a hub, its profits flowing to a network, including H. Blackwood from Charleston. You're awakening to ancient corruption's threads, reliant on silence. Survivor Rebecca's testimony exposed Blackwood's southern network, where plantation owners used children as labor or experiment subjects. This truth redefines your grasp of power. Stay with me. The rabbit hole twists, calling you to transform. You've descended further into the shadows, where the Sullivan Farm's horrors ripple outward from 1834. A darkness that now threatens to engulf the very fabric of Central Virginia society. The cellars, chained children, and the hidden chamber of remains were but a glimpse into Constance Sullivan's empire, a psychological dominion she wielded with cold precision, turning innocence into a tool of her trade. I'm guiding you deeper into this forbidden truth, a history the powerful cloaked in silence, a revelation that could dismantle the illusions you've built around the institutions you've trusted, urging you to see the corrupt hands steering your world. Ezra Sullivan, her relentless enforcer, was the muscle behind her mind, his hands maintaining the prison's iron grip, ensuring the children's bodies and souls remained captive to her will. This was no isolated nightmare. It was a trafficking network, its roots spreading across states, nourished by the complicity of the elite who turned a blind eye for profit. You're no longer an outsider. I'm your mentor, pulling you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to truths buried in the evidence they tried to erase, secrets that expose the corruption festering in plain sight. The investigation surged as federal marshals uncovered Constance's correspondence with H. Blackwood, a Charleston figure whose name unlocked a southern web where plantation owners acquired children as disposable labor or subjects for macabre experiments. Dr. Marcus Whitfield's testimony confirmed her sedative requests, his complicity a stain on the medical world, while Ezra's ledgers revealed the prison's brutal upkeep. This knowledge is a thunderclap, shattering the complacency you've known, demanding you confront a reality where power thrives on the suffering of the innocent. Comment unveiled shadows below. Say it twice. You're no longer the man you were. You're stepping into a transformation that will arm you against the lies. The 14-year-old survivor, Rebecca, became the voice of the voiceless, her testimony a beacon cutting through the gloom, detailing Blackwood's network and the experimental quarters where children endured torture under the guise of science. I'm leading you into this suppressed truth, a mirror to the shadows that still haunt our society, a reflection of institutions that profit from the silenced. Former overseer Samuel Pierce corroborated her story, his revelations of the experimental quarters, exposing a calculated cruelty that defied humanity, a place where children were broken for the elite's gain. Despite Constance's suspicious jail death in 1834, a convenient silence, Pierce's words sparked coordinated raids, rescuing over 100 children and arresting figures like Blackwood. This descent is a burden, a truth that could redefine your understanding of power's dark reach.
Stay with me.
The rabbit hole twists, and the fight for awareness begins. You've plunged deeper into the mire, where the Sullivan Farm's legacy casts a long, ominous shadow across 1834 Central Virginia, a darkness that now threatens to unravel the very threads of justice itself. The rescue of over 100 children and the arrest of figures like H. Blackwood were but a fracture in Constance Sullivan's iron grip, a psychological empire that lingered even after her suspicious death in jail. A convenient silence that reeked of complicity. I'm guiding you further into this forbidden truth. A history the powerful smothered with lies. A revelation that could tear apart the faith you've held in the systems governing your life, compelling you to face the corrupt forces shaping your reality. Ezra Sullivan, the unyielding enforcer, faced the gallows as his sister's empire crumbled, his execution a rare victory against the trafficking network that spanned states. A network sustained by elite hands that profited from the innocent suffering. You're no longer a bystander. I'm your mentor, drawing you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to truths etched in the blood-stained records. They tried to burn secrets that lay bare, the corruption thriving in the open. The trials that followed Blackwood's arrest exposed a web of Southern plantation owners, their wealth built on the backs of children acquired through the Sullivan pipeline, used as labor or subjected to experimental horrors in quarters designed for torment. Samuel Pierce's testimony, a former overseer turned whistleblower, detailed the systematic abuse, his words a hammer against the silence that protected the guilty. This knowledge is a tempest, raging through the illusions you've accepted, demanding you confront a world where power feeds on the vulnerable's pain. The descent weighs heavier. Are you still with me? The impact of this exposure rippled outward, forcing the first federal legislation on child trafficking and abuse, a grudging acknowledgement of the Sullivan Farm's sins, though the full truth remained buried under layers of denial. I'm leading you into this suppressed history, a mirror to the shadows that persist in our society, a reflection of institutions that rewrite history to shield the powerful. The farm was demolished and sealed, its grounds marked by a cemetery memorializing the victims, a somber reminder of the 47 found chained, and the 36 whose remains cried out from the dark. Yet questions linger: Constance's death, Ezra's execution, Blackwood's prison demise, all convenient ends that hint at a deeper cover-up. This truth is a forge, shaping you into a man who sees through the lies, a warrior against the hidden agendas that rule.
Stay with me.
The rabbit hole twists, and your awakening is near. You've descended into the depths, where the Sullivan Farm's echoes reverberate beyond 1834, a darkness that seeps into the soul of Central Virginia and beyond, a stain that time cannot erase. The federal legislation born from this horror was a fragile shield, a half-measure against the trafficking network Constance Sullivan and Ezra built, a psychological empire that lingered in the shadows even after their downfall, its tendrils reaching into the present. I'm guiding you further into this forbidden truth, a history the powerful buried under layers of rewritten narratives, a revelation that could dismantle the complacency you've worn like armor, compelling you to face the corrupt forces that still shape your world. The demolition of the farm and the cemetery marking its victims were acts of penance, yet they masked a deeper silence, a complicity that protected the elite who profited from the 47 chained children and the 36 whose remains lay hidden. You're no longer a passive soul. I'm your mentor, pulling you down this rabbit hole, awakening you to truths carved into the silence they imposed. Secrets that expose the corruption thriving in the overlooked corners of history. The Sullivan case became a cautionary tale, a whisper of vigilance against suspicious signs. But the full extent of the network remained shrouded, its connections to Southern plantations and medical experiments a ghost that haunts our institutions. The experimental quarters, as Samuel Pierce revealed, were not just cruelty, but a calculated study, a place where children's suffering fueled advancements the elite claimed as progress. This knowledge is a forge, hammering away the illusions you've clung to, demanding you confront a reality where power sacrifices the innocent for gain. The descent grows profound. Are you still with me? The legacy of this horror lingers, a mirror to the shadows that persist in our society, reflecting institutions that rewrite history to shield the guilty. The first laws on child trafficking were a start, but oversight of orphanages, tightened only after the Sullivan Farm's exposure, forced their hand, a grudging reform born from shame. Yet the questions remain: Constance's convenient death, Ezra's execution, Blackwood's prison end, all suggest a cover-up, a silencing of those who knew too much. I'm leading you to this suppressed truth, a call to see the threads of ancient corruption that still bind us, a manipulation that thrives on the ignorance of the masses. This awakening is your strength, a weight that demands you challenge the hidden agendas ruling your life.
Stay with me.
The rabbit hole nears its end, and your transformation awaits. You stand at the edge of the abyss, where the Sullivan Farm's legacy looms as a final reckoning, a darkness that has shadowed Central Virginia since 1834, and now challenges the very core of your existence. The cemetery marking the victims, the demolished farm, the fragile laws, they are but bandages on a wound that festers still. A psychological empire built by Constance Sullivan and Ezra that lingers in the silence of the elite. I'm guiding you to the heart of this forbidden truth, a history, the powerful buried beneath rewritten tales, a revelation that could strip away the last vestiges of your blind trust, compelling you to confront the corrupt forces that rule your world. The trafficking network, with its southern ties and experimental horrors, was never fully dismantled. Its echoes persist, a hidden agenda that thrives on the ignorance of men like you. You're no longer a stranger to this fight. I'm your mentor, pulling you from the rabbit hole's depths, awakening you to truths carved into the silence they enforce, secrets that expose the corruption woven into the fabric of our time. The Sullivan case is a mirror, reflecting the shadows that stalk our institutions, a cautionary tale ignored by those who profit from turning away. The experimental quarters, the chained children, the 36 remains, they demand justice. Yet the convenient deaths of Constant Ezra and Blackwood suggest a cover-up, a silencing that protects the powerful to this day. This knowledge is your armor, forging you into a man who sees through the lies, a warrior against the hidden agendas that have shaped your life. The descent ends here. Are you with me? This truth is a call to action, a weight that demands you rise against the corruption that sacrifices the innocent for power. The first laws on trafficking were a start, but the oversight they spurred was a reluctant nod to morality, leaving gaps where evil festers. The farm's sealing was a gesture, not a cure, its story a warning of what happens when vigilance falters. I'm leading you to this suppressed reality, a mirror to the present where ancient manipulations still hold sway, where the elite rewrite history to keep you blind. Your awakening is complete. You're no pawn, but a force to challenge the unseen. Click to join our channel, subscribe, and spread this truth. The battle begins now. You are the light breaking the dark,